Ningning, you are my only daughter, and it is inevitable that you will inherit the family business. Dad can't bear to see you too tired. With Hangzhou by your side, you can relax. My father's admonition came to my ears. I opened my eyes and saw a familiar figure standing in front of me. Compared with the attitude of a superior who has been immersed in the world of fame and fortune for many years, even if Hangzhou pretended to be calm at this moment, he still couldn't hide the immaturity and childishness emanating from the inside out. Facing the two words, marrying into the family, repeatedly mentioned by my father, he only had a humble smile on his face, and there was no sign of impatience. I was stunned for a moment, and after making sure that the scene in front of me was not a dream, my heart suddenly surged with overwhelming hatred. I was reborn. In the previous life, Xie Hangzhou deceived my father with this harmless appearance and accompanied me for many years, playing the role of a son-in-law conscientiously, so that he was in power, and when he suddenly turned against me, everyone was caught off guard. My father was tricked by him into carrying a huge debt, and in order not to implicate me, he had to end his life by lying on the railway tracks. I was deceived by him to sign the equity transfer agreement, and became a daughter that looked glamorous on the surface, but in fact could only depend on him, and had to endure his sudden beatings and humiliations at any time, without any dignity, and all this, according to him, was because of me. Your family is powerful and influential. Even if I am unwilling, I can only put on a smile and let myself be picked by your father and sent to you like a commodity. Why? In order to satisfy your father, I can only break up with Wei Ning. I have had enough of facing your face every day. You have fallen to this point today, and it is all your own fault. He pinched my neck tightly, his face was hideous, and he roared like a mad beast. I only then realized that he had always hidden a white moonlight in his heart that he loved, but could not get. But what did I do wrong? Xie Hangzhou could have justifiably refused my father's financial support, but it was obviously him who weighed the pros and cons and took the initiative to choose the wealth that was within his reach, but in the end he pushed all the responsibilities to me. Why? On the day Zhou Weining returned to China, Xie Hangzhou resolutely left me behind to pick her up. I was already pregnant at that time, and I could only watch him leave, waiting for death alone in the wilderness. Thinking of the child who died before being born, my heart ached. Perhaps God felt my strong resentment and gave me a chance to start over. In short, this time, I will never repeat the same mistake again. I want him to pay back double what Xie Hangzhou owes me and the Chen family, Mr. N. I am willing to take care of Ningning with all my heart and put her first in everything, so you can rest assured. When I came back to my thoughts, Xie Hangzhou was solemnly expressing his loyalty to my father. After all, he was young and ignorant, and although he said flattering words, I keenly caught the fleeting humiliation in his eyes. I couldn't help but sneer. Xie Hangzhou's ambition and desire have never been small, but he is so scheming and so hidden that even my father, who has seen countless people, has not been able to see a glimpse. Okay, as long as you treat Ningning well, I will not treat you unfairly. I will arrange for someone to transfer the subsidiary of N Group to your name. My father nodded with relief. Xie Hangzhou could hardly hide the ecstasy on his face, but after hearing what I said, the smile froze at the corner of his mouth. I don't agree, Ningning. Did I make you unhappy? I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Don't be angry. I will definitely change. Xie Hangzhou apologized to me helplessly, with an extremely humble attitude, trying to create an appearance that he would unconditionally tolerate all my bad temper. My father's eyes also showed a hint of doubt. Ningning, I took a deep breath, forced down the hatred that was running rampant in my heart, and said lightly, Dad, I don't like Xie Hangzhou. Let's forget about marrying into the Chen family. As for the company, I can learn to manage it myself. I don't need someone with ulterior motives. Xie Hangzhou's face changed drastically. Although he tried his best to hide it, there was still a hint of obvious panic between his eyebrows. My dad looked serious and cast a sharp, inquiring look at him. Ningning, you misunderstood, Mr. N has done me a favor. I want to repay him, so I am willing to marry into the Chen family. I have no other intentions, Xie Hangzhou explained dryly, but in this situation, it seemed that the more he explained, the worse it got. My dad pondered for a moment, asked the servant to send him out, and asked me with a serious face, Ningning, tell me honestly, why did you suddenly change your mind? Could it be that the boy did something to let you down? Seeing his indignation, I shook my head quickly. Dad, don't think too much. Nothing happened. I just think Xie Hangzhou has ulterior motives. I'm worried that if he invites a wolf into the house, the century-old foundation of the Yin family will be destroyed. Since I'm choosing a partner for you, your opinion is naturally the most important. Don't have too much psychological pressure. Dad is still young and can hold on for another 10 years. After my dad finished speaking, I burst into tears and laughed, and my nose unconsciously felt sour. There is no doubt that he loves me, but because I didn't know him well, I caused him to have a bad end in my last life. Fortunately, it's too early now, and the tragedy hasn't happened yet, in this life. I must protect the people who really love me. I slept peacefully, and I was refreshed the next morning, ready to find trouble with Xie Hengzhou, who knew that as soon as I entered the school, I ran into a good show. A group of arrogant people surrounded Xie Hengzhou in the middle, with contempt on their faces, and were scolding him mercilessly. I recognized that they were all rich second generations who were uneducated and came to school just to gild themselves. You poor bastard. You actually stained my limited edition clothes. Can you afford to pay for it? If this matter is not resolved today, you can't go anywhere. The yellow-haired man in the lead pushed him hard with an arrogant attitude, Xie Hengzhou's hands hanging by his side clenched into fists. And he was obviously on the verge of extreme anger. Unfortunately, he couldn't afford to offend the other party's status, so he could only swallow his anger. I didn't mean it. At most, I'll wash it for you. Don't go too far. Wash, with your inferior hands. You are not even worthy of touching the corner of my clothes. I'm in a good mood today, so I won't bother with you, as long as you kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times in public. This matter will be over. How about it? They were clearly out of bad taste and wanted to deliberately embarrass others. As the people around him pointed and talked, Xie Hengzhou's face suddenly turned red, embarrassed. However, at the moment when he looked up, he just passed through the crowd and met my sight. His eyes suddenly darkened, mixed with many complicated emotions, and after a moment, he seemed to whisper something to Huang Mao. Huang Mao was waiting for him to kowtow and admit his mistake, but he suddenly became angry and kicked him to the ground. This incident happened so quickly that almost everyone present did not react, but I saw all his little movements. Xie Hengzhou deliberately angered Huang Mao, just to make me soft-hearted, rushed to rescue him, and then advertise our relationship, so that he could naturally gain a foothold in the school with the name of the Yin family and enjoy those connections and resources that he could not even dream of with his poor family background. After all, he did this in his last life, and playing pitiful was his usual forte. It's a pity that I am no longer the fool who was wholeheartedly devoted to him before. In this life, he should return to the quagmire that should belong to him. Huang Mao was still not satisfied, and kicked him several more times, cursing, "Who gave you the courage to scold me? I will teach you a lesson today, and let you know what will happen if you offend me." Xie Hengzhou covered his stomach in pain, and sweat dripped down his forehead. I watched coldly, and a hint of sarcasm appeared at the corner of my lips. His face became paler and paler, as if he couldn't believe that I could watch him being beaten without doing anything. My appearance immediately caused a big sensation. In this university where most students are rich or noble, no one doesn't know N's group. The rich second generation had a condescending attitude towards Xie Hengzhou, but when it came to me, my face was instantly filled with flattering smiles. Huang Mao took the initiative to step forward and carefully explained the current situation to me. "Miss N, we didn't take the initiative to cause trouble. It was this person who soiled my clothes and didn't apologize, and even provoked me. I was so angry that I wanted to." I deliberately frowned and said, "Tisk." The yellow-haired man trembled all over, thinking that he had disturbed me, and waited anxiously for me to speak. Xie Hengzhou's eyes immediately burst into a strong light, and his expression became more and more forbearing. I looked away in his hopeful eyes and said lightly, "Keep the noise down, so as not to damage the image of the school. My father is a member of the school's shareholders meeting, so it's not surprising that I said that." The yellow-haired man breathed a sigh of relief and nodded repeatedly to promise to be more discreet next time. Xie Hengzhou's face suddenly turned gray, seeing that I was about to turn around and leave, without caring about his life or death. He suddenly stood up and shouted at my back, "Ning Ning, I have already apologized to you. How long are you going to be angry?" This was like throwing a stone into the water, stirring up a bigger ripple. After all, it was not long after the school started, and Xie Hengzhou wanted to maintain a simple image of being indifferent to fame and fortune in front of me, so he did not make a big fanfare about being funded by my father. I know that his idea was to make me willingly bring all the good things to him, and then he would accept them reluctantly, and then win my father's appreciation. But seeing that I was unmoved, he was afraid of missing the best opportunity to show up, so he panicked. "Ning Ning, I know you are not an unreasonable person. It is not worth it to get angry for me. What are you dissatisfied with me? Please tell me clearly." Xie Hengzhou was about to pull me, and Huang Mao reacted, as if he had heard a big joke. "Hey, did I kick you, silly? You are so poor. How can you have the nerve to associate with the daughter of a group? That's right, you are daydreaming in the daylight. Who do you think is a fool? It's just a fantasy." The other second-generation rich people echoed him and cast a mocking look at him. Xia Hengzhou's face changed a lot, and finally he couldn't bear it anymore and called up the photo with my dad. Here is the evidence, mister, and has been supporting me all these years. And yesterday he called me to his house and asked me if I was willing to manage the company with Ningning. I know that photo. After Xia Hengzhou received the admission letter, he wanted to thank my dad and insisted on taking the photo with him, saying that it was a souvenir. It seems that he is really desperate and has to reveal all his cards. The smile in my eyes gradually deepened. It's better to solve it once and for all, so that he won't use my father's identity to make profits for himself and ruin the reputation of the Yin family. But I didn't plan to stop it immediately. After all, the atmosphere is at its highest point and the public opinion is at its hottest. So the best slapping effect can be achieved. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Xia Hengzhou thought I acquiesced to his behavior. His submissive attitude disappeared in an instant, and a hint of arrogance appeared in his eyes. True is true, false is false. I don't need to lie. The reason why I didn't say it just now was that I didn't want to use my power to pressure others. Who would have thought that you would not give up? It's really too much. Huang Mao felt a little guilty. His arrogance was lowered, and he muttered in a low voice, I haven't heard that the Yin family is about to have a son-in-law. Am I ignorant? Everyone looked at each other, and some people who were smart wanted to curry favor with the Yin family. So they boldly accused Huang Mao of making a fuss and bullying others too much. But some people saw that my face was not right, and hesitated to stand in line, fearing that they would cause trouble. The playground became more and more lively, attracting more onlookers. Under the pressure of public opinion, Huang Mao was about to apologize to Xia Hengzhou with a frustrated look on his face. He suddenly caught a glimpse of me from the corner of his eye and asked tentatively, Miss Sin, is what he said true? Does President Han really intend to let him marry into the family? Ningning, although I also want to rely on my own abilities to give you a good life, this does not conflict with our public relationship. I am a man and should take responsibility. Let me take this step. Xia Hengzhou almost couldn't suppress the pride in his eyes. He was about to come over to pull me, but I raised my hand and slapped him cleanly, and said slowly, You dare to spread rumors in front of me? Do you think I don't exist? Being beaten by me in public? His face was so gloomy that it looked like water could drip out of it, and then he forced out a smile that was uglier than crying, and asked me, Ningning, you should calm down now, right? My father kindly funded you, but you repaid him with hatred. Do you want to take this opportunity to rise to the top overnight and treat others as fools? I tell you, you will never have the chance to enter the Yin family in this life, and from today on, the group will stop all funding for you. It is important for people to know themselves. People like you who are so stupid and ambitious are not qualified to stand by my side. If I find out that you are using the banner of the Yin family to seek personal gain again, you will bear the consequences. Students present will be rewarded for seeing this, and you are welcome to report it at any time. I stared at him condescendingly, speaking loudly. The main person spoke in person, and no matter how Xia Hengzhou defended himself, no one believed a word. Huang Mao was furious and sneered. I said that Mr. An's vision couldn't be that bad. It turns out that you were imagining it. A sparrow is a sparrow. Do you really think that you can become a golden phoenix by just talking nonsense? I don't know which word irritated Xia Hengzhou. His eyes were red and he rushed up to fight with Huang Mao. There was no need to continue watching this farce, so I turned and left. The yellow-haired man was outnumbered. Even if Xia Hengzhou took action first under the blessing of anger, he would not be able to gain any advantage later. Sure enough, as soon as I got out of class, I saw him waiting in the corridor with a swollen nose and a swollen face, and he was embarrassed. It was obvious that he was going to block me. When he saw me coming downstairs, he showed a hurt expression and said pitifully, Ningning, I was beaten like this for you. Can you really turn a blind eye? His eyes were red and his tone was full of accusations. While I was silent, my mind suddenly flashed back to the scene in my previous life when I found my father's body and ran to question him. What was his reaction at that time? He stood on the steps, looking down at me crying heartbreakingly, but there was no ripple in his dark eyes, only obvious pleasure. It was like a beast that had been dormant for a long time and finally showed its sharp fangs. Why are you crying? I have endured humiliation and been a son-in-law for so many years. I have been laughed at by others, all thanks to your father. Now he has paid the price he deserves and died so easily. Isn't it my mercy? You should thank me. He gritted his teeth and pinched my chin harder and harder. The face was so unfamiliar that I was in a trance for a moment under the severe pain, as if I had never known the person in front of me. Although your father is dead, the sins committed by your own family have not been repaid yet. You have to atone for my sins for the rest of your life. He pushed me hard, and I fell down the stairs uncontrollably. I could only watch him walk away. I still remember the feeling of hatred and helplessness. Now the situation has reversed, and the person begging has become Xie Hengzhou. I no longer have any love for him, so how could I be soft-hearted? You got beaten because you overestimated your own abilities and offended someone you couldn't afford to offend. What does it have to do with me? You tried your best to get involved with me, but you were just hoping that I would be deceived by your sweet words, unfortunately. I had already seen through your evil intentions. As for you repeatedly asking me what you did wrong, you insisted on playing dumb, then I might as well say it clearly. Your mistake was that you were delusional, that you kept chasing unfounded, extravagant hopes, and that you thought that both me and the family were in your pocket. Would someone like you who has bad intentions, low self-esteem and sensitivity be willing to marry into the family? I'm afraid you have already suppressed your resentment and pretended to be docile, waiting to take revenge after entering the family, am I right? I said softly. The words he said were merciless and hit the nail on the head. Xie Hengzhou suddenly widened his eyes, showing a sense of panic and helplessness, as if he didn't understand why I could see through his thoughts that he tried so hard to cover up. The Yin family has stopped supporting you. What you need to worry about most now is how to spend the 4 years of college, not whether you will not change your bad habits and cling to me like a dogskin plaster. I snorted coldly and passed by him without even giving him a glance. The following days were calm. Huang Mao was vindictive. Last time, he was fooled by Xie Hengzhou again and almost embarrassed himself in public. He had long been resentful of him and had been trying his best to make trouble for him these days. Xie Hengzhou was busy with his own affairs, so he naturally had no time to bother me. I calmed down and learned to manage the company. My father was worried at first, but later, when he saw that I was learning well, he gradually changed his mind and guided me more attentively. Graduation is imminent, and I am running between school and company, so busy that when Zhou Weining stopped me, I was stunned for a long time before I remembered that according to the timeline, it has now developed to the point where she and Xie Hengzhou are entangled again after returning to China. Miss Sin, I want to talk to you. She was wearing a white dress, with fake makeup, and a pitiful little white flower posture. This is the look that Xie Hengzhou can't resist the most, and he argued with me countless times in his previous life because of his partiality to her. Thinking about it now, I still can't stop being annoyed and disgusted. My time is precious, and I never waste it on insignificant people. What if it's about Hengzhou? She bit her lower lip, trying to create a carefree attitude that she and Xie Hengzhou are already a thing of the past. But when she looked at me, there was still a hint of hostility and unwillingness in her eyes. I just thought it was really ridiculous. Xie Hengzhou might be confused by her half-truthful remarks, but I know it very well. They broke up that year because Zhou Weining thought that she had no hope of being with him, so she left him and went abroad with another rich man. After being discovered and targeted by the rich man's original wife, she couldn't make it abroad, and wanted to go back to her when she was desperate. But Xie Hengzhou was stupid and didn't know it. He thought that their love had gone around and returned to the starting point. That's even more unnecessary. Please get out of the way. My attitude was cold, and the impatience between my eyebrows was obvious. Zhou Weining suddenly knelt down straight in front of me and choked. I know I shouldn't bother you again, but I really can't watch Hengzhou sad. The only person he loves is you. I beg you, Miss Sin, can you give him another chance? A familiar roar suddenly came from behind. It was Xie Hengzhou who rushed over, protecting Zhou Weining behind him and glaring at me. Enough, Ning. Do you think you can be domineering and do whatever you want just because you have money? You can vent your anger on me, but Weining doesn't owe you anything, so why are you forcing her to kneel down, Hengzhou? It's none of Miss N's business. I took the initiative to ask her. Zhou Weining leaned on his arms and cried, but her explanation was pale and powerless, and it seemed to confirm my guilt of bullying her. Xie Hengzhou has always been helpless with her tears, and this time is no exception. I sneered in my unbearable sneer. What era is it now? Still using this kind of trick? Don't you think it's old-fashioned? Two clowns who are trying to attract attention, and they think they are performing a touching drama of heroes saving beauties, which is ridiculous. It's a pity that there are no audiences here, otherwise with your poor acting skills, you will definitely get countless rotten vegetable leaves and rotten eggs. That scene is exciting to think about. Zhou Weining's eyes were filled with anger, and she was shaking with anger. However, she didn't dare to argue with me directly because of her image, so she could only shrink in Xie Hengzhou's arms and cry. Although you don't deserve to waste my time, I won't care about it because you are still dedicated to playing clowns. By the way, the two of you are made for each other, so you must be locked up to prevent you from harming others again. I have to say that it feels great to speak freely. After I finished speaking, I felt refreshed, and even the fatigue and depression brought by the recent double torture of company affairs and graduation thesis were swept away. However, Thanks to Zhou Weining's appearance, I suddenly thought of a truth: evildoers will be punished by their own evil. Zhou Weining and Xie Hengzhou are not people who are content with their lot. The reason why they stayed together until death in their previous life was that my existence gave them the illusion that it was not easy to stay together and cherish each other. In other words, the less you can get, the easier it is to miss each other. But what if I get out of this unscathed and let them get together naturally, without the convenience provided by the in-group? Xie Hengzhou would at best be a student with excellent character and academic performance, but poor. And he could not satisfy Zhou Weining's desires that had been raised, so they were fed up with each other, and it was inevitable that they would end up getting tired of each other. I just need to wait and watch the show quietly, and maybe there will be an unexpected surprise, as I expected. Zhou Weining was honest for a while, and after finding out that the in-group really had no dealings with Xie Hengzhou anymore, she finally couldn't help but take action. Suddenly, a post named Zhou Weining appeared online, saying that I had turned from love to hatred and hired someone to humiliate her. At the end, a photo of her with disheveled clothes and dull eyes was attached. The power of rumors lies in the ability to stir up the greatest emotions at the lowest cost. I could easily guess that Zhou Weining directed and acted in it herself, with the purpose of framing me, but she overlooked the power of the top wealthy families. It took less than 5 minutes from the posting to the deletion of the post, when Xie Hengzhou found me angrily. I had just finalized the final draft of the thesis with my supervisor, and I was in a rare good mood. And Ning, I really didn't expect your methods to be so despicable. What? You dare to do it but not to take responsibility? Or are you afraid that even the in-family can't protect you? Do you think covering your mouth will work? I tell you, your behavior is suspected of breaking the law. You'd better take the initiative to go to the police station and turn yourself in. For my sake, Weining may forgive you. He stared at me with bloodshot eyes, and the crazy and excited emotions flashed in his eyes. I narrowed my eyes and couldn't help but smile slightly. Xie Hengzhou's eagerness to use my so-called mistakes to control me didn't show that he wanted to stand up for Zhou Weining. Interesting. I really don't want to admit that I have had feelings for a fool like you. But who doesn't have a past that is hard to look back on? Zhou Weining can sue if she has evidence, and I'm waiting for the court summons at any time. If not, she is slandering me. Please tell her to prepare for a talk with the legal department of an group. You seem to want to seek justice for her, but in fact you just want to use this as a handle to threaten me, right? It seems that your relationship is not that strong. The sarcasm on my face was too obvious. And Xie Hengzhou was instantly like being stepped on. He retorted angrily, "What nonsense are you talking about? I just can't stand your arrogant face." The only response to him was my cold sneer and my back turning away. Life is always full of drama. For example, I just came out of the classroom and ran into a fierce quarrel downstairs. Why don't you sue a Ning? Is it true as she said that you have no evidence and are just acting? I was humiliated by her for seeking justice for you. You only make me feel like a joke. Although Xie Hengzhou tried his best to suppress his anger, he still couldn't hide the exasperation in his tone. After a moment of guilt, Zhou Weining immediately pretended to be in tears. "I did this for you, Hengzhou. Think about it carefully. If it weren't for the last resort, which girl would be willing to take such a humiliating posture and let herself fall into rumors? I saw miss and ignored you, so I thought that if she was swept up by public opinion, you would comfort her and tell her that you believed in her, and she might change her mind. I didn't know it would backfire, but I really had no other thoughts. As long as you are fine, I will pay and sacrifice as much as I can, and I will be willing." Hearing this, Xie Hengzhou's tense face gradually relaxed, and finally he sighed, hugged her in his arms with heartache, and his eyes gradually became firm. "Promise me that you won't do anything to hurt yourself next time. Even if I don't rely on the in-family, I can rely on my own abilities to let you live a good life. Believe me, okay?" Zhou Weining nodded while crying, but a trace of imperceptible sneer flashed across her face. It seems that she was just pretending to be nice to him on the surface, and she didn't intend to eat his big cake again. I laughed in my heart and left quietly in the opposite direction. The good show seemed to be about to start soon. As I kept strict with myself as an heir and worked hard for it, my father became more and more relieved and began to hand over more and more company decisions to me. That day, I went to discuss cooperation with the boss of the rival company on his behalf. When I opened the door of the private room, I found a familiar face. It was Zhou Weining. But at this moment, she was wearing sexy suspenders and short skirts, with heavy makeup, sitting on the lap of bald Mr. Wang, feeding him wine in an ambiguous way. "Mr. Shaoan is here. Please sit down. Please sit down." Mr. Wang pushed her away without hesitation. turned around and respectfully pulled out a chair for me. I saw that Zhou Weiniing's face was particularly ugly, but I had to force a smile and waited by the side with my eyebrows lowered. After 3 rounds of drinking, the other people in the private room were drunk and a little too proud. Mr. Wang once again pulled Zhou Weiniing into his arms with a big tongue, touching her all over, and boasting to others, "Did you see that? My new mistress is really good at serving people. I'll let you taste that kind of ecstasy some other day." I frowned and coughed lightly, and they realized that I was still there, and then they restrained themselves when I came out to go to the bathroom. Zhou Weiniing saw me and snorted coldly, not hiding the jealousy in her eyes. "Don't think that I will be grateful if you help me. Don't you just want to humiliate me? Do you think I don't know? It's funny, you rich people look decent, but you are all garbage behind the scenes. I have seen it clearly." She also drank wine, her face was flushed, and she cursed dirty. I was too lazy to pay attention to her, but she was relentless, blocking the door and not letting me go, and even wanted to hit me. I couldn't bear it anymore, and suddenly pressed her head into the sink. "Are you awake?" Her makeup was messy, and she looked more and more embarrassed, but she was still staring at me. "Do you think I want this? If I had a family background like yours, I would definitely not be worse than you. What are you proud of? Everyone has their own choices. Since you want to take shortcuts, you must bear the corresponding consequences. Do I need to say more about such a simple truth? Xie Hengzhou has potential and treats you well. It's you who don't want to wait. Who can you blame?" I retorted, but I didn't expect to anger her even more. "Why do you give me something you don't want? I tell you, I don't want it." After that, she slammed the door angrily. I raised the corners of my lips and sent the recorded audio to Xie Hengzhou along with the address. In the private room, Zhou Weiniing leaned in Mr. Wang's arms softly, saying in a delicate voice that she had recently taken a fancy to a bag, and her hysterical look just now disappeared. I put away the contract and sat down in a quiet corner out of a mentality of watching the fun. Xie Hengzhou came very quickly and slammed the door open like a mad beast. "Who is so ungrateful to interrupt my good thing?" Mr. Wang was having sex with Zhou Weiniing and heard the noise. His tone was dissatisfied, but before he could see the appearance of the person coming, fists hit him mercilessly like raindrops, and blood was seen soon. "Hengzhou, stop it." Zhou Weiniing screamed and hurriedly tried to pull him away, but the strength difference between men and women was useless. The private room was in chaos. Mr. Wang lay on the ground wailing, but Xie Hengzhou turned a deaf ear to him, just stopped panting and stared at Zhou Weiniing. "Did he force you, or did you do it voluntarily?" The last few words were particularly difficult to say. As if he had used up all his strength, Zhou Weiniing stammered, not daring to look him in the eye. Mr. Wang uttered a "pa," endured the pain, and yelled, "There are so many women who want to curry favor with me. Do I need to force her? So you are the lover of this little bitch. Look at this. Don't you know that your girlfriend is selling her body outside? Poor thing. Dare to hit me. Do you know who I am? You wait for me to recover, and I will definitely make you pay the price. If you say another word of nonsense, believe it or not, I will kill you." Mr. Wang was shouting, but he heard Xie Hengzhou's roar unexpectedly, and saw that his eyes were red, as if he could kill someone in the next second. He was afraid that his life would be lost here, so he closed his mouth reluctantly. "I only listen to you, Weiniing. Tell me, is this really your choice?" Xie Hengzhou's tone calmed down, but anyone could see the storm hidden in it. "I have my reasons, believe me." Zhou Weiniing had never seen his violent side before, and was so scared that she trembled and could only say these 2 sentences over and over again. I just thought this scene was really wonderful, and I even wanted to applaud, but I was stared at by a resentful look. Zhou Weiniing seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw, and couldn't wait to point at me and choked. It was a Ning. She forced me. She also said that if I didn't serve Mr. Wang obediently, she would find ways to embarrass you and make you drop out of school. I was really afraid that your future would be ruined, so I had to bear the disgust. "Hengzhou, you know, I only have you in my heart, and Mr. Wang is older than my father. How could I take the initiative to find him?" Xie Hengzhou finally remembered that he came here because he saw my message. He slowly turned his head to look at me. The coldness in his eyes was clear at a glance, as if he had completely lost his mind. And a strange and twisted arc rose at the corner of his mouth. "It's you, Ning. It's you who's taking revenge on me?" I just felt that he was really unreasonable, so I rolled my eyes in annoyance. "You believe everything Zhou Weiniing says? I think you're crazy. Didn't you listen to the recording? She said it sincerely. Could it be that I forced her?" Xie Hengzhou, face the reality. You're the only one who's been played around by her. One, I know that with Xie Hengzhou's madness, I'm in a very dangerous situation now, but since Zhou Weining dared to frame me without knowing whether to live or die, I couldn't let it go. Impossible. Weining is sincere to me. She broke up with me and went abroad because she was afraid of affecting me. It's all your and your father's fault. If your father didn't want me to be a son-in-law, Xia Hengzhou's eyes regained a trace of clarity, and he shook his head desperately to deny it, as if trying to convince himself. I picked up my phone, found the evidence that I had already investigated, and threw it to him. Look carefully for yourself. Zhou Weining was not forced to go abroad, but became the mistress of a real estate tycoon and followed him to enjoy the good life. Unfortunately, she was later discovered by the original wife, who pursued her relentlessly. The tycoon did not want to divorce, so he abandoned her. Now she has found Mr. Wang, and she also wants to use the same trick again, using her body to exchange for what she wants. Yes, Mr. Shaoan is right. I have kept more than one girl in these years. Zhou Weining is exactly the same as them. I want her youth and beauty, and she wants money. It's a fair deal. Besides, she is not as beautiful as a fairy, so there is no need for me to take the risk and force her. You have been deceived by that cunning woman. Mr. Wang couldn't bear to watch it anymore, and he had to speak for me despite the pain all over his body. After reading it with gritted teeth, Xia Hengzhou's face was extremely gloomy. Is this what you mean by thinking about me? Do you think it's interesting that I defend you like a fool? Seeing the evidence, Zhou Weining simply stopped pretending, and her pitiful expression turned into a disdainful sneer. Your defense is worthless? Why should I care about it? I just despise the poor and love the rich, and I look down on you for only studying hard. So what? You clearly have the opportunity to marry into the family and soar to the sky, but you can't grasp it. No one in the world is more stupid than you. This you who have accomplished nothing and can only be incompetent and furious are not worthy of me at all. I really thought that you would have the courage to vent my anger when you saw your woman being bullied. But I didn't expect you to be a coward. Let me tell you, today I dumped you. I'm tired of playing with you, and I want to break up with you. Zhou Weining had been holding back for a long time and vented all her resentment at once, but before she finished speaking, she couldn't help but show a look of horror, and then look down in disbelief. I saw that the broken pieces of the wine bottle in Xia Hengzhou's hand had pierced her lower abdomen fiercely. Blood was flowing. It was horrible. Then you go to hell. It was a whisper that was almost tender, but it was like the whisper of a devil. Zhou Weining collapsed backwards with powerlessness, and finally closed her eyes unwillingly, compared with the attitude of a superior who has been immersed in the world of fame and fortune for many years. Xia Hengzhou, even if he pretended to be calm at this moment, still couldn't hide the immaturity and childishness emanating from the inside out. From me, I admit that I once had the idea of using you, but before I put it into action, you trampled my dignity hard under your feet, and Ning, you deserve it. Anyway, I have killed a person, and I can't live anymore. I might as well drag you to be buried with me, so I won't lose anything. After saying that, he rushed towards me with a hideous face, but was pinned to the ground by the police who broke into the door the next second, unable to move. Stupid. Do you really think I will be scared by you? It's just a delay. Do you know why you have fallen to this point? People always have to pay the price for their greed. I finished speaking expressionlessly, and a sense of pleasure of revenge suddenly surged in my heart. Xia Hengzhou was eventually sentenced to death for intentional homicide. The day he was shot happened to be the day I took over my father's position and became the new chairman of the company. I looked at the luxuriously decorated office and closed my eyes with satisfaction. From now on, my new life will begin.